In the 19th century, Ibadan was no ordinary city. It was a fortress of warriors, a city of power, and the heartbeat of Yoruba land. And in this world ruled by men and soldiers, one woman rose like fire. She was wealthy beyond imagination, commanding thousands of workers, farms stretching farther than the eye could see, and trade routes reaching the coast. She sat among chiefs, spoke with authority, and financed wars. But power makes enemies. And her story, filled with ambition, tragedy, betrayal, and blood, is one of the most unforgettable tales in African history. This is the life and death of Efunsetan Aniwura, the Iron Lady of Ibadan. To understand Efunsetan's rise, you must first understand the time she lived in. The early 1800s was a time of chaos in Yoruba land. The old Oyo Empire had collapsed, Fulani jihads were spreading from the north, and endless wars forced people to migrate. Ibadan rose from the ashes of war. Founded by warriors, it became a city where strength and trade mixed. Soldiers needed weapons and food. Traders needed protection. And the city quickly grew into the most powerful Yoruba kingdom of the 19th century. Into this world of war and opportunity was born a girl named Efunsetan. Efunsetan was born around the 1820s, the daughter of Chief Ogarin of Ikija, an Egba town, and an Ife woman. From her mother, she learned early the art of trade, the sharp eye for profit, the bargaining tongue, the courage to take risks. As war scattered towns, Efunsetan moved with her family until she finally settled in Ibadan. She was ambitious. She didn't want to be just another market woman, she wanted power, wealth, and influence. And she was willing to fight for it. Step by step, she built her fortune. Her farm stretched far and wide, producing tobacco, maize, and yams. She exported goods through Porto Novo, Bedegri, and Ikorodu, connecting Ibadan to the wider world. But her most controversial wealth came from the slave trade. Like many elites of her time, she bought and sold enslaved people, using them as labor on her farms, or trading them for profit. At her peak, she controlled over 2,000 slaves and dependents, an entire community under her authority. She became so rich that even generals borrowed money from her. When the Ibadan army went to war, they often fought on credit given by Efunsetan. In Ibadan, power was not only about swords, it was also about money. Efunsetan's wealth gave her political weight. In the 1860s, she was installed as Ayalode of Ibadan. This title made her the official leader of women and gave her a seat in the Council of Chiefs. Imagine the scene, a council full of hardened war generals, and among them, one woman who dared to speak her mind. That was Efunsetan. She defended women's interests, regulated the markets, and even influenced war policies. But her growing authority made her enemies uneasy. Especially the military leader of Ibadan, Ara Ono Kokonfo Lotoe with grave. But Efunsetan's power also came with fear. After the death of her only child, she was never the same. Broken by grief, she turned her pain into strict control over her household. Some say she forbade pregnancies among her slaves. Some say she ordered executions for disobedience. In fact, there are claims she killed 41 of her slaves. But here is the mystery: was this the truth, or propaganda spread by her rivals? Some historians argue that these stories were exaggerated by men who feared her influence. Others believe her trauma turned her into a ruthless mistress. The truth, perhaps, lies somewhere in between. As Ibadan grew, so did the rivalry between Efunsetan and Ora Lotoe with grave, the military dictator of the city. The Ora believed power belonged to warriors. Efunsetan believed money and trade were just as important. Their clashes shook the city. She openly challenged him in council, criticized his policies, and refused to be silenced. To the men, this was rebellion. To Efunsetan, it was her right as Ayalode. But when power collides with pride, war is inevitable. On May 1, 1874, Efunsetan was accused of misconduct and stripped of her title as Ayalode. She paid heavy fines but remained in Ibadan, watching as her enemies plotted against her. Lotoe with grave could not rest until she was gone. But he could not kill her openly, she was too powerful, too respected. So, he planned betrayal. On the night of June 30, 1874, as the Iron Lady of Ibadan slept, 2 of her own slaves crept into her chambers. They were acting under the orders of her adopted son, Kumuyolo, a man bribed by Lotwe with grave himself. Efunsetan never woke again. The Iron Lady was murdered in her sleep by the very people she had raised in her household. Her death shocked Yoruba land. The Egba people, her kinsmen, demanded justice. Under pressure, Ibadan executed the 2 slaves who killed her. Kumuyolo was disgraced and stripped of his family rights. But for Efunsetan, it was too late. The woman who once ruled Ibadan with iron was gone. Efunsetan Aniwura remains one of the most controversial figures in Nigerian history. To some, she was a cruel tyrant who mistreated her household. To others, she was a brilliant businesswoman and political leader who dared to challenge a patriarchal system. Her story has inspired plays, books, and films. Today, her statue stands in Ibadan a challenge, reminding us of her life, her power, and her tragic end. The Iron Lady of Ibadan may be gone, but her name will never be forgotten. So tell us, who do you think she truly was? A tyrant consumed by grief, or a visionary woman crushed by a man's word? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more powerful African stories like this one, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more untold histories of the motherland.